Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this webinar on navigating sustainability in business. I will suggest that we start with a brief round of introductions of all the panel members. And since I'm speaking already, I'll just continue. My name is Boris. I'm with Regreener. Regreener is an impact platform that allows consumers, but also companies to support climate projects. This allows you to take responsibility for those CO2 emissions that you cannot reduce yourselves. And I think good to note in terms of projects, you could think of reforestation projects or renewable energy projects, and we really value the quality and verifiability and also good communication there. Joost, a few words about yourself?
Yeah, sure. Thanks. My name is Joost Walterbos. I'm co-founder of Hedgehog company. Also be co-hosting this online webinar with Boris, so also will be asking the questions. At Hedgehog company, we're specialized in guiding organizations in their sustainability journey. We mostly do that by starting with environmental impacts assessments, like organizational footprinting or product carbon footprinting, product lifecycle assessments. With these assessments, we create the insights that you need to know where you stand in your sustainability journey. And based on that, we help our clients with like implementing regulation or building new design strategies or overall corporate strategies. So for us, data and data is key, basically.
Thanks. Turning to you, Anna.
Yeah, so unmute first, thank you. So first, maybe good to bridge and say that actually we are clients of Joost and Hedgehog, so we work together. So my name is Anna Ahrenberg, and I'm the brand and sustainability lead at CCV. And CCV is a European payment company or partner. So whether it's online, in-store, offline payments, I hope that you would think of us. And I leave to Marijke then.
Yes, thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Marijke Frielink. I'm a sustainability manager at Antea Group Nederland. And Antea Group is an international engineering and consultancy firm. And we work on full service solutions for the living environment or the physical environment. So all kind of things on infrastructure, built environments, mobility, energy, water, and biodiversity. And we aim to create positive impacts.
Thanks. And also a small disclaimer, Antea Group is one of Regreener's customers. So that's the relationship we have here. Very good. So for today, we've selected 3 topics to discuss. First, we'll talk about how to introduce sustainability in your organization. And then we'll move on to discuss some of the recent developments in the field of sustainability. And I think we'll focus also, amongst others, of course, on the Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive, the CSRD. Now, as a final topic, we'll address the challenges in data collection. And each topic will be accompanied by a poll that you will see appear on your screen. And of course, we encourage all webinar participants to ask questions also along the way, which we'll discuss in the final 10 minutes of today. You can ask these questions by using the Q&A or V&A button at the bottom of your screen. I think lastly, good to note, I think you already saw this, that we're doing a recording of today's session, but of course we'll refrain from using or publishing any data on the attendees or the questions that are asked. Let's jump right into the first topic, introducing sustainability in your organization. Now, I think we all see that the sustainability journey can be quite daunting in the beginning in a lot of ways, as it also often requires organization to rethink business as usual. And when introducing sustainability in an organization, we often see that also decision maker support is really needed in order to properly start and sustain the sustainability journey. And another challenge we also see is getting the rest of your colleagues to follow suit. Marijke, perhaps nice to start with you with the first question, and let's start with the basics real quick. How would you define sustainability at Antea Group?
So at Antea Group, we try to capture it in one sentence. It's really important to translate it to your own company and that all your colleagues can relate. So for us, that is together we make the world a little more beautiful every day. And then we have 4 focus teams that we use where we can be most impactful. So we use the Sustainable Development Goals as the storyline, so to say, to focus on the teams and goals that we work on. And then within our work field, we have about 4 different topics or means to sustainable development. So that's circularity, energy transition, nature inclusive, and climate, so adaptation and mitigation. So that's how we do it in our own organization. And what I find most worthwhile in the discussion or as a challenge that you can encounter is that it's quite hard to define sustainability for your organization in a way that all employees can understand, you can relate to them, really understand and activate them. And often in the Netherlands, at least, it's described as a container concept or a catch-all term. And I prefer to use the term umbrella term because that really helps to change the mindset from something that it's difficult to understand to something that everyone can relate to and everyone can help build and work on solutions.
Thanks. Very good. So narrowing it down to 4 topics really helped Antea Group. Anna, curious to learn, what is your biggest challenge for your organization, CCV, when introducing sustainability practices?
Yeah, I thought about that quite a bit, and I think it comes down to the change of mindset, really, because it's this fear and resistance towards something new. So that was kind of the first hurdle to overcome. And there's like a general view that, oh, we have to do something new now, and that means more work, and I'm already overwhelmed, and, you know, I have my daily business. So that was really the first challenge, this change of mindset. And I also want to say that we take a very pragmatic approach to it. And I think it's also important to highlight that it's not something new. It's just we have processes very good in place. So we kind of had to just add the little, not little maybe, but sustainability filter on it. So that's what I try to kind of communicate as a starting point.
Change of mindset. And how do you get your colleagues on board, Anna?
Well, first of all, and I think Marijke, you would agree to that it's important to have, you know, top management commitment and the mandate, right, to start with. And then I'm dusting off an old traditional tool, which is the memo. And I've been sending memos to, you know, mid-management, senior management. And then I'm using that memo. And when I'm creating task force later on, and I'm saying, yeah, referring to this memo, we are going to do this now when I'm having big projects. For example, that's what I did when we started the CO2 audit, sending a memo and then linking back to that and say, hey, this is important. So we're going to do that now, and I'm inviting you. But I also think it's important for all colleagues to really get engaged and awareness about the topic. And I think using fun and engaging activities is super important. So also to explain really why are we doing it? It's not for fun, right? We have legislation, and we also have increased commercial value of this. So really trying to explain it and use all the channels we have internally.
Thank you. I would also in a moment touch upon these fun activities that you mentioned. But first, Marijke, can you relate to Anna's point of changing a mindset?
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's something that everyone will recognize. It's not just important to get top level management commitment, but also everyone in your own organization. And it really requires a different approach sometimes, even though it's not always something completely new, but it can be like a little change that you can do in your work. But it really helps to have the memos and the clear communication and definitely the fun activities.
Right. Now, turning to those fun activities, I hear you both indicated that is an important part. If, let's say, a company is listening that is just starting a sustainability journey, what would you recommend in terms of fun activities, Anna?
Well, yeah, there's many, and just maybe one example that this year we just celebrated our 65 years. Well, okay, that is a big event. And our management decided to link it to be future-proof and then sustainable. So all our happenings for our employees, but also for our partners and clients, was around sustainability. So we had the chance to do a lot of activities, and we were learning a lot when joining them. So, for example, we invited to join the recycling or repair center to learn about that. Go around our offices and collect garbage. That was one activity that I participated in. We gained 23 kilos in 2 hours. And it's a little bit like you start a conversation and people are on board and you do it together. So it starts there. Another one that just pops up on my mind too is that our corporate comms team has also identified our colleagues who have a personal interest, and they've been lifting these stories and creating quite nice videos, which then are shared internally to really show the commitment and the personal interest people have. And that also starts the conversation.
Very good.
Maybe you, yeah, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, maybe just one thing. I said you don't have to have a 65-year celebration. It can be a company or a corporate dinner, you know, and put that sustainability theme on it, and that's also good, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Marijke, any addition there?
Well, we've had some similar things as Anna, so I think those would generally work then. But we also have the Climate Classic that we support because we're looking for a way that we can connect with what really motivates people for those fun activities. To find that intrinsic motivation, we have a lot of people that like to cycle. So we could combine that with the Climate Classic that is being organized. And then we also had a photo competition for people who like to take pictures, because we have quite a lot of those as well. And then connected that to the Sustainable Development Goals. So to express what does it mean for you, and then have conversations about that and showcase the winner. So those were things that worked really nicely for us.
Nice. And apart from cycling, photo contests, the fun activities in a sense, how do you ensure that all colleagues are on board also from a business perspective?
Yeah, I think it really helps next to communication to also stress the benefits of sustainability. So not just the social and environmental value, but also the commercial benefits, because we want to offer the best solutions to our clients, and our clients also want to work on sustainability. So you also have a better relationship there with your clients. But next to that, we do Sustainability Thursday. It sounds better in Dutch. So every Thursday, every 2 weeks, we have a newsletter. So we're dusting that one off as well next to the memos to showcase everything that we do around sustainability. We have social media postings on it and live meetups. And I think what really works best is word of mouth advertising, so to say, internally. Because if people hear about different initiatives that are going on, that really inspires them, and it works better than just top management saying it. So it's always nicer if you have that buy-in from your colleagues.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Anna, interested to learn, how about this, the commercial aspect of becoming more sustainable, right? The commercial advantages that we also see sometimes.
Yeah, that's one of the whys when I try to introduce the topic internally. So we get maybe once a week in tenders, big tenders from large clients. We get questions about sustainability and where we are on that journey. So we have a close relationship now with sales, where that comes to us and we kind of filter out, what we can comply and not, and certifications available, code of conduct, etc. So really increasing, and I think it's good. It helps us also to see what, it's the pull and push effect kind of that they are asking us. We are also asking our suppliers, and that creates, that we all improve and progress to a positive change, I think.
Great. Final question, Marijke, to you. How do you go about communicating on these efforts? Like which channels work well?
Yes, we have like an internal webpage, so that works. But then, of course, everyone's really busy, so you cannot always read everything that's on there. So we try to combine that with live meetups or sessions where people can just ask questions and we can really interact. And we try to have interactive communication. So we ask them for their inputs, but we currently actually have a campaign on our offices where we have physical signs hanging there as well. So your coffee machine tells you about our sustainable coffee and the story behind it, and that we have all kinds of things like that. So you really encounter it when you visit the office, to make it visible during your day-to-day work, because I think that's the biggest challenge when you communicate.
Yeah, great. And Anna, you talked a bit about these memos also. Curious to touch upon that a little bit further. How do you ensure that top management is on board on this sustainability journey?
Yeah, that's a good one. Well, we just have commitment from them because of the legal aspects that are coming, the CSRD, and also the commercial aspects. I mean, it's been for a while, so top management is already on board, and I think I don't know what you say, Marijke, but it's kind of in general. I think top management understand this today quite clearly. So the memos were more a way to reach to get senior and mid management on board and kind of open up to say, this is the plan, this is why we're doing it. Do you have any questions or other? Otherwise, we're just going to get on with it, so to speak. So I think the memo has been very efficient from that perspective. But senior board of directors, the top management, are always clearly stating that this is a priority. We have it also now in the business strategy. So there's not like a CSR strategy hanging. It is in the business strategy. So I think, yeah, this has been helping.
Yeah. Marijke, any additions there, or all on the same page?
Well, all on the same page, I would say, actually. And I forgot to mention sharing best practices, but that's not just for top level management, senior management, but also just for everyone you work with. Just showcasing that it really works and can be a success.
Good, very nice. Let's also turn to the results of the first poll that we've had. I'm not sure if you can already see them. I think I have to end it first. Yeah, let me share the results. There we go. I think it's quite interesting to see that no one picked answer D. So all attendees are already on the way in one way or another on their sustainability journey. So I think that's very positive. Then we also see 32% that indicates that more work has to be done. Talk about sustainability sometimes, but the focus is on more pressing issues. Question to both, and one of you can jump in if you feel like it. How do you deal with this more pressing issues? Because I understand there's always more pressing issues. Q4 is around the corner. We need to do the budgeting for next year. How do you make sure sustainability is gets a foot in the door there?
I think for us, it's really trying to embed it and integrate it in your daily work, because we work on solutions for our clients, then turn that to sustainable solutions for our clients or a sustainable way of working. So really try to get it as close to your daily work as possible. And there's different ways, and we also still have steps we can take there. But I think that is the main thing. And I think it helps that in general society, it's a bigger societal issue now. So our employees are also looking at us. What are we doing and how can we contribute? Our clients are looking at us. So it's not necessarily a separate topic anymore, but it's really becoming one of the main things we should all work on.
Thanks. Anna, anything to add, or
no, agree? just I would agree. And then also having a very pragmatic approach to kind of not using difficult words and just take it down to what is it exactly we're talking about, and making it very pragmatic. Thanks.
That's a great tip, which we all remember keeping it pragmatic. I suggest we leave the first topic at this and move on to the second topic. Joost, you can take over if you want.
Well, I want. Second topic. We're having a look at some of the developments that we see as sustainability consultants, if you will, and that we see in the field of sustainability. Of course, there are many. It's a hot topic. We can see it in the news daily. We've had a hot summer, so well, for some it's nice, for some not. But if we switch a bit more to navigating sustainability in business, a thing that we've seen over the past 1.5 to 2 years is it's quite a steep increase of employees who are becoming more critical about the employer's efforts in sustainability in the company that the employee works with. We even see that people decide to quit their jobs because their organization is not committed enough to sustainability. Another thing that we see, although slowly, is a shift towards more sustainable behavior, both and maybe even quicker on the B2B customers when we compare it to consumers, who are a bit slower and are a bit more in regard of their wallet, so to say. Another thing that's very clear over the past few years is an increasing jungle of labels, of initiatives that you can become part of and that you can commit to. Think of B Corp, think of 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐢𝐧𝐠, but also if you want to sell your products on Amazon, you can commit to the Amazon Carbon Pledge. But yeah, so enough of developments that we could discuss in this topic, but for now, let's focus on two of these. First of all, Regreener specialized in carbon offsetting projects. So we want to touch upon to see what can carbon offsetting, or how does carbon offsetting contribute to an effective sustainability strategy. And yeah, second of all, you already mentioned in the beginning, Boris, we cannot go around it, of course, but the 𝐒𝐮RD, the Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive, it's coming and it's haunting people. So that's also a thing that we will discuss in this topic, and which is also just a gentle reminder for the poll for all our viewers, for the audience. Fill in the poll so we can take that into account when we switch to the 𝐒𝐮RD in a bit. But yeah, first of all, Marijke, let's start with Antea Group. How is carbon offsetting strengthening your sustainability strategy with Antea Group?
Yeah, so we've been reducing carbon emissions since 2009, and we focus on action and measures, so really on reduction, and then we wanted to elevate that. So we were the first Dutch engineering and consultancy firm with a science-based target, where we follow the 1.5-degree pathway, and we become part of this global leading group of companies that take climate action. So we really want to remain the focus on the action part. So we didn't used to see compensation as something that was maybe too easy, or and we wanted to prevent greenwashing, of course. And then we realized that in a way, for not compensating, we ignore negative effects that we have with our current carbon footprint. And we aim to contribute to the Sustainable Development Goals and create positive impact. So what we did is, in our compensation, we chose projects with additional shared value on society and ecology, so that by compensating on climate, we create a positive impact on other sustainability aspects. So for example, cooking stove projects which increase health and reduce carbon emissions, or planting forests that once they're biodiversible. And then for us, it's really important that you have transparency. You can really demonstrate the effect, and it's traceable, because we really want to steer far away from any greenwashing. And communication is very important there as well. So we showcase that we reduce our negative emissions now, or mitigate those. And we really focus on creating that positive impact, and we still remain focused on actual reduction. And I think that worked really well also in how people perceived it, both internally and externally.
Yeah, nice, beautiful. And at 𝐶CV, Anna, how is there a similar approach of combining or using carbon offsetting to support your current reduction strategy?
So I'm looking at Marijke as a role model here now, because they are you're way ahead of us. So we started last year, 2022 is our base year, when we did our first CO2 audit. company-wide. So we're starting with that, and we're also looking into the hotspots and making a reduction strategy now. And we say our strategy is clear, like we're not doing too much of the offsetting before we have cleaned our own house and looked into where we can reduce the most, and then we will look into it. Note though that we do a little bit ad hoc to compensate for certain events. Can think of maybe looking into flights, etc. But regardless, it's like clean our own house as much as possible and look into that first. That's our strategy.
Yeah, indeed, and we can also see it results in some discussions that you can see both within businesses, but also outside the businesses, more in general news outlets. We can see a lot of discussions regarding offsetting. How, Marijke, do you recognize that as well in the Antea Group? Was there a lot of, decent discussions between different stakeholders within amongst your colleagues? Regarding this offsetting versus reduction issue?
Yeah, so we've both in our board, actually, also in the carbon team that we have, so carbon data team, and also with our clients. Actually, we also had debates with them on how they approach it or how they work on it. And I think if compensation would be the only thing that you do, then you get quite a challenge there to make it also to showcase that you actually work on sustainability. It's not just kind of paying to get rid of it. So I think the communication around it really worked. So we did not really, once we did it and we explained how we approached it, and we were really critical and serious about it, and we still reduced and we chose our projects really well. I think that really helped because we didn't really get any negative comments or questions on that because people saw that we took it seriously. And I think that's most important, but I definitely recognize the discussions. Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. So we really, we can hear from you really the support, additional support that offsetting strategies give to reduction strategies, because of course, if you start with sustainability, next year your carbon emissions will not be zero. It's impossible, both technological as financial. So it's really about offsetting, contributing to, and strengthening your sustainability strategy. Anna, just a quick peek in the future. How do you think that this discussion will run within CCV, and will it can it play a big role for you? Oh, you're still on.
Still on mute, yeah, classic. So I think absolutely. I think we are maybe 1-2 years. In 1-2 years, we can start looking into it and make a good strategy out of it, because of course that would be our objective too. But first, we're also learning a lot. So have the base year, trying to reduce ourselves, and also, as Marijke said, we absolutely want to be sure that we're focusing on the right projects. We're going to make a big due diligence for that, I think. Avoid greenwashing and end up in that rabbit hole.
Yeah, indeed. That's also nice with for example, with a lot of the projects of Regreener. I'm familiar with most of them. There is always some kind of extra benefit, either social or biodiversity or community. So it's a big advantage to also check out those additional benefits. Well, the CSRD, let's go there. I'm not sure, Boris, if we can already see the results of the poll. I don't know if all the
let me just share those. There we go.
Beautiful. CSR what? I was hoping that this one was at least for a few. Well, the CSR what, the CSRD, kind of expecting that indeed some organizations have not been familiar with this. Just a quick recap. If you are in business with 250 employees or more, which is critic 1, critic 2, 20 million more on revenue, and critic number 3 is 40 million on the balance sheet or more. If you comply to one of those 2-3 aspects, then you have to become CSRD compliant, depending on your size, either in 26 or in early 27. if we look at our contestants, Marijke, how is 𝐶SRD playing a role in your daily work as a sustainability manager, and how's Antea Group currently doing on 𝐶SRD?
Yeah, so it's quite a big task actually, because it's a lot of data, a lot of reporting, so it's quite a challenge in that sense. I'm confident about it though, because we have a lot of expertise in-house. So we started with a task force with people from finance departments, 𝐭𝐻SE and sustainability, and also legal, because we also want to engage with our suppliers and our customers in that sense. And we're really preparing ourselves. We still have some time, luckily, because we have to report over 2025 the first time, so that's in 26. But we really want to do test runs, so to say, to see where we have the gaps and where we should put extra focus on. And we're aiming for one data platform that we can use for different purposes, because now the data is quite scattered, except for maybe the carbon data. So we do have it. It's just a way of organizing it better to make it lean, and also to make sure that we can use that data for our improvement and our and advancing on sustainability. So not just view it as a big reporting thing that doesn't really help you, but really helps to get more insight and then make the next steps in your journey.
Yeah. Very clear. Anna, similar question. CCV, how are you doing on 𝐶SRD?
Yeah, well, Marijke, you said that you're confident. I'm optimistic. I think this is something we can't avoid, right? So we just have to do it one way or another. We have similar approach, I would say. We are now building up a task force with finance to get the expertise of reporting skills, and then us from sustainability and CSR. And yeah, big thing for us on Q4. I was just doing the Q4 planning now. We have the double materiality that we will start with, and yeah, start to get ready. I think also actually I got the news that we might also be first reporting year 2025 and not for 2024. But nevertheless, we did our first ESG report for 2022, and we're going to continue that as a tool to learn and see where the gaps are. And we are also about to get an internal audit in Q4 to not police us, but to see also the gaps of where do we have good validated data and where can we improve. And then we can go back into the organization and work it out. So yeah, and maybe one thing to mention also is the 𝐶SRD will be integrated report in the finance and then annual reporting, but we would most likely keep the ESG report to also keep the more stories. And in our strategy, we also have other objectives than would the 𝐶SRD, like the pure legal requirements.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So for that CSR report, not the 𝐶SRD, but the CSR report, you are aiming for a different audience, so to say.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I heard you both say setting up a task force, having an internal task force with people from different departments. I've heard finance, I've heard CSR. What role would then a 𝐶SRD? We see many 𝐶SRD consultants recently emerging everywhere. Some are focusing on sharing knowledge, so to say, and others are really focusing on consulting you as an organization. How, if 𝐶SRD is such an integrated approach and an integrated legislation, how could a 𝐶SRD consultant be of help with you, for example, Marijke at Antea Group?
Yeah, I think that's for me personally a bit of a difficult question to answer, because we also have the 𝐶SRD consultants in-house.
So you do need
yes, yeah. So I know all the ins and outs. Now I think it's mainly on additional capacity or expertise on certain topics, because it's really important for 𝐶SRD that becomes an integral part of your organization. Like I said before, it's your data, it's your story. You can use it to advance sustainability. So it's if you would fully outsource it, that would be a bit difficult and really fragile. But in general, I would say that support with materiality assessment, or support on how to approach it, how to interpret certain standards, or how to get to certain implementation plans, that can be really useful.
Yeah. And for you, Anna, I've seen the time.
Also, slowly move on to the final topic of today, or is there any pressing issues still on this one?
No, I guess not. I was going to indeed move to the next topic, also linking it quickly here to part of the answers in the poll, where also organizations in supply chains must communicate some of the data. Well, something that both Antea Group and 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐢𝐧𝐠 will recognize. You need to request information in your scope 3. This is what our next topic is also about, challenges in data collection. So whether it's the CSRD, or if it's a carbon offsetting project, or if it's just for you as a business to start your sustainability strategy, these impact assessments, insights, KPIs into sustainability metrics are of crucial contribution. Well, and these assessments, of course, require data collection. Data collection is always the most time consuming. It's very, it's challenging. You need to communicate within your supply chain. At Hedgehog, we are specialized in these processes, and we like to call them the time of organized chaos, because you cannot prepare for anything. You just need to go out there and just request the information that you need. Anna, you might recognize this. We've been working with you for a bit already. What were the biggest challenges when you look back at this period on data collection?
Yeah, first of all, we're a quite data-driven company, so we are used to data, but this type of data is new. So it's about communicating it also on the right level. And I have been mentioning pragmatic approach many times, but also to kind of demystify. So I remember when we started, I got this big Excel sheets of CO2 emission data that we need. So then it's about decoding it and say, actually, how many cars, how many kilometers did they drive, what type of cars, etc. So it's really getting down there. And then we collect everything in one database. I think that is also a key tool that we have. So whether it's for CO2 or it's for other type of reportings, we have one database with 500 data points, which we yearly collecting. So I think that one is our go-to, the backbone.
Yeah. And Marijke also mentioned earlier, and you as well, you want to build a data platform with everything in there. Is this that data platform already, or?
Well, I still have to take a sneak peek in what Anna's platform is, but I would say it's a similar thing. So you just want all your data in one place. I'm very curious to Anna's example, and you can use it for different purposes, right? So you can use it for CSRD, for EcoVadis if you need to report on that, or CO2 performance letter, all kinds of things. But really just have it in one place. Also for tenders, actually. So if we need information for our clients, for projects we want to do, that people can really easily access it. So I think that's a key part in making it a lean or leaner process.
Yeah. And other challenges that you've had, Marijke, in data collection in the supply chain? I'm sure you have quite a few scope 3 stakeholders that you need to communicate with. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think I assume everyone will recognize that the verification and the validation of your data is a challenge. And then it's quite difficult to quantify your impact. So for us, for example, we have many different projects. What is sustainable in one case is not sustainable in another case. So it's not always directly available or just one clear pathway. And quantifying that impact can be really a big study sometimes, where it may transgress the value of the total project. So then it always becomes a bit of a challenge on how to get certain numbers. And I think supply chain is most difficult because it's not data that you own. but you really have to engage, get that interaction. And I think the willingness to share is really increasing. But I think previously we've seen that it's also perceived by some suppliers as a bit risky, because if they share certain data, it might do something with their competitive advantage, because you can really easily compare them with each other. And I think that's really changing now. So that's a good thing for us. But it's well, making sure that the data is correct and what does it say, what's in scope. I think that's one of the big challenges.
Yeah. And I hear you speak indeed about the willingness of suppliers to deliver this information. Anna, is this something that you recognize, and do you see differences between suppliers in your supply chain?
Yeah, absolutely. If we look at the more European suppliers, I think because of legislation coming, it's already kind of available. And then if we look at our Asian suppliers, for example, it is more tricky. So I'm actually currently trying to figure it out on how to come across, because it's also about the relationships and the type of data we're looking for. But I think it's about just to start, and you get some in the beginning, and then you build and you get more, like you have to start, and then you can, it's not going to be 100% the first day. I think that is one good thing to keep in mind. Also for your own expectation to don't feel like a failure. Small steps is okay.
Yeah, no, very recognizable indeed. Boris, I don't know, is it? Can you already pop up the answers of the poll for the final bit of this? Yeah, indeed. So we see almost half of the people you do not have experience yet with data collection, but will do any type of impact assessment in the future. Well, luckily for you, we have two people who have experience here over the past few past period on data collection. Marijke, can you give away some tips to our audience to smoothen their data collection procedures for their impact assessments?
Yeah, I hope so. So it's I think, well, like Anna also said, being pragmatic about it, or a lean process, that's really the key. So not aiming for all the nitty-gritty details in one go, but really look at the big impacts first, see what data you can get, and then use that to improve over the years, because it's not possible, unfortunately, to get 100% of the best quality and verified data. And it's really important to share successes. So get people on board and why the data collection is important, how they help, because you ask people for a certain number, and it's of course not the complete carbon footprint, for example. So really help them explain why it's so important that they contribute, and how it may benefit them, or how it benefits the organization, so that it becomes clear why you're doing it, and it's not just an extra task that you ask from everyone.
Yeah, exactly. Is this Anna for you at CSV? Can you give away some tips over the past period?
Yeah, no, fully agree. And I think this sharing successes, and also because the sustainability topic goes across the whole organization, so it can come across quite random, like I'm asking you this, and then like, okay, so it's really to put it in the context also, what it means, like what the end result is. And for us, the ESG report was a typical example of that. And also to kind of do a little what do you call when you do like that with the eyes to people, including some quotes, saying thank you. It's not I or that person doing, it's us doing it together. So I think that one. And one thing I also want to say, that we're talking about the sustainability database. I'm very proud that we built it, that everything is already there as a starting point, but it's not that fancy either. We're using Excel as a tool. So, start with that, and you have 5, and then you build. I think that is a good thing to maybe highlight also.
Yeah, so keep it simple, use Excel. Yeah, be nice to your team members. and thank them and say it's an us effort are things that we hear coming by here. Does this also link back? I mean, in our first topic, we talked about the commitment of the colleagues, and does this link back to the data collection phase, Marijke?
Yeah, also, yeah, it's I think it's really important. People want to contribute, so it's and they just want to see what is their share or how can they help. So really bringing that context and that value instead of just asking for a certain number and then don't report anything back. I think that really helps in getting commitment throughout your organization.
Yeah. Same for you, Anna. You recognize this as well.
Yep, absolutely. And I could also see that in the beginning, it's a bit like, as we said, this resistance. But then now we have a couple of these, sharing successes, because it is a very positive topic or theme to work on. Now people are coming to us and want to join a little bit, and like, how can I do? Can I join? Can I do? So I think that is, it's a second step where it will come, but it's just to get over that first hurdle.
Yeah, nice. All right, thank you very much. I think Boris, I give the floor to you. We can have some interactive discussion with the audience, some of their Q&A.
Exactly. Yeah. Let's. I'll be the speaker for the audience. We've got a few questions that were asked. I think perhaps this also links back to the final remark. One of those questions is, can you give an example of 3 or 4 most winning arguments to buy in the stakeholders into sustainability initiatives? Let me see if I can pop this up on the screen. So the 3 or 4 best arguments to, let me just ask it again. Can you give an example of 3 or 4 most winning arguments to buy in the stakeholders into sustainability initiatives? Marijke, anything comes to mind as a tip?
It's always a bit stressful if you have to come up with the 3 best things, but it's a good question. Well, expressing the benefits, so either for your work because you have a better relationship with your client, or because it's a nicer challenge for you to work on it, those kind of things in general help. And I think, sorry, I have to get the question in front of me. Where is it?
Can you see them, Marijke?
Yeah, no, I can't. Sorry, it was in a different bucket now. I think also, like we said before, finding that intrinsic motivation, so do the fun activity, because that can really surprise you with how much buy-in you can get, because people can relate to something and they find it fun, and then they start looking into things.
Yeah, thanks. Anna, any additions there?
Yeah, I saw it earlier, so I had a chance to think. And I think first, legal requirements, you don't have a choice, right? So, but if you're not legal or in finance, you might not be attracted to that. Then if you're more a sales, I would say commercial, because there is a pull for sure. And it can also help you to position yourself, being that responsible player. And then the third one is really also employer branding, so to speak. As Joost was also saying in the beginning, you become a more attractive employer, especially for the younger generation. Surprisingly, a lot comes out actually in service, so these 3: commercial, legal, and employer, being an attractive employer.
Thanks. Another one, interesting one. What educational initiatives can a company introduce to make sustainability become a part of the DNA of their employees, whereby they genuinely care about becoming more efficient, not just a superficial level? So educational initiatives, really interesting question. Thanks for that. Marijke, first thoughts?
So what we started with is also just explaining what sustainability is, or how you can relate it to your own work. So more educating on sustainability in a broad way. And we also have we have an Antea Group Academy, where we also provide training. And one of those is for project leads, for example. And then we've integrated how you can offer sustainable solutions and how can you do those conversations with the clients on sustainability. So some of the things we do. Also some webinars internally. So with cross sharing of different departments.
And where is, if I may ask, where is this Antea Academy, Antea Group Academy? Where is it in the organization? Is that with communications, or is it with you?
No, it's a separate department, so to say, in business support. And we have throughout the country, we have different places where we do the trainings, or it's an online training. And I also noticed someone asking whether the SDGs are a big part of that education, and that's a yes, because it's the SDGs can really help you to support your story and what you're working towards, but it can also be confusing because it's another abbreviation and another thing that people need to learn. So it's what are the SDGs? How can you contribute to that? How can we translate them to our work? That's also a big part of it.
Yeah. And you have the SDGs behind you in the field, so we guess they're an important part of your day-to-day job as well. Very good, Anna. Anything to add on the educational part?
No, I think Marijke covered it well, and can be all from the form. I think it has to be mixed with the formal, more boring, so to speak, education and information. A lot of what we post on the intranet is informing. We just have a new post coming up soon about potential green legislation that will affect us. I hope a couple of people read that. But if I can't reach that way, you try another, and you have all these fun and engaging activities also. So, but also I think it's important to say it's not like it's you can change the world, in one day. You will always have people who are a bit hesitant, but it's slowly and steadily you start, and then you get people with you, I think.
Yeah. Thank you. And Anna, also a question for you, because you talked also about picking litter, for example. One of the questions is, what are the examples of activities that a company does to become more energy efficient or implement recycling at their offices? Do you have a great tip to share?
No, I was looking at that one. I was hoping that wouldn't come to me, that question, but there you go. So Marijke, feel free. But it is a very good question, and I think there's many things. We have a couple of initiatives going, but I'm not thinking that we have fully explored it. So I will have like a super wise answer. But for example, we're doing a waste audit now to see the waste streams, because although we know in the CO2 emission report that it's not really a big hotspot for us, but in people's minds it is, so we are trying to do that, and it's going to be more on the educational part. So we're going to probably do a couple of fun activities. I have one in mind, haven't rolled it out yet, but maybe to let employees gather all their plastic garbage, for 1 week and put them somewhere in the office, so we can, see it and see the actual impact, that it's more than you think. I mean, the garbage picking activity was quite eye-opening too, because if you start to go around and just look down on the ground, you will see so much that you just wonder what's happening. Why are we, throwing things out like that? But yeah, things like that. So maybe I will have something better to say in a couple of months. Marijke, I don't know if you have any you had good ideas on other concepts that you've been working on.
Yeah, so we've what we're currently looking at, so we've done all the things with like changing to LED lights and that kind of stuff to become more energy efficient, but also really look at how do we use our offices, how do we deal with the heating temperatures or cooling, can we make that more energy efficient, and really call to action also to all of our colleagues, because we work a lot with data, and where do we store our data. So we looked at that, and how can we become more sustainable in that sense? So we just migrated to another cloud. Well, now this is not my expertise, but we changed something, and we have a big production there, and we also ask our colleagues to clean up their mailboxes, the data storage, just to make them aware of the energy they use there. So that's not necessarily in your office, but more in the cloud. And I think one thing that I found quite fun is, instead of the Bila, we had the Zvila, which is where people can go to the reception. They can get the how do you call those? The wastes, to collect waste, the instruments.
Waste bags.
Sorry?
Trash bags.
Yeah, not the trash bags, but the knijper.
Picking things, yeah.
And we and they can have a conversation or a meeting whilst they're picking up trash to become more aware and also clean up the environment. So I think there's all kinds of things you can do there.
Great, thanks. Another question that I see, we talked about this already a bit in the first block, is about top management engagement and on topics of sustainability, and also having them to keep focus and not focus on other crises or difficult quarters, etc. And the question is actually how we can get support of top management in these situations. Now, what I sometimes see, but only with larger firms, is, for example, a bonus system linked to sustainability achievements. Are there any of those initiatives active at Antea Group or CCV at the moment to get top management really committed, also in difficult times on other topics? Feel free to jump in if you feel like it.
Well, I think when you're dealing with crisis or a difficult period, it's really useful to stress the importance of like the marketing or like how to get new people, so new employees, because that's an important factor also for future proofing, even though you're in a crisis. And I think sustainability is not always more expensive. It can also save money, especially if you look at the life cycle. So I think that can be an important one. And what I find quite interesting is the cost of inaction, because we often forget to look at that. So we're really good at business as usual, and then the cost of a sustainable solution, but not necessarily at the cost of if you do nothing. And how does that affect your business model later on? So I think that can be a really compelling argument if you do a bit of a deep dive on that.
Thanks. Yeah, that's really strong, if I may say so. Anna, anything to add, or all happy?
All happy, but I was thinking also that if you have a big crisis coming in, you also have to focus, and if there's something you can't do today, you do it tomorrow. So I think you have to also be a bit smart with that. But the sustainability strategy and implementing it into the business strategy, it's a long-term game anyway. So I think it should always be on the agenda. And then if a crisis happens, okay, focus for a short while on that, but then go back to set the long, what do you say? Yeah, objective straight.
Thanks. I have one question myself, which has been in the back of my mind. Are there any no-goes in terms of engaging your colleagues, right? Getting them on board? Are there any failures that you would like to share that the participants can also learn from?
Well, my first response would be that it should become this naming and shaming thing. So because people tend to point to each other and then say, oh, but you're saying this, but at the same time you're still flying, or you're still doing this. And I think it's the trick is to stay away from those conversations and to make sure it's the mindset change, that you positive and how you can come up with a solution instead of just focusing on everything you're doing wrong, because then it's quite hard to get buy-in from people if you just focus on things that don't go well.
Thanks. Anna, any additions?
No, I would agree to that. I mean, failures, sometimes you try something, have a walk-in or like a little lunch and learn about my heart topic, sustainability, and you have maybe one or two joining, that's maybe not the right channel, and you try something else. So trial and error. There's no failure, you only learn, right? So
Fantastic. Okay, I think that is the perfect ending to our webinar. For now, Marijke, Anna, thank you very much for joining. Also, all the participants. Final remark is that Joost is hosting another webinar at the end of this month. You can register here using the QR link on how to measure your own business carbon footprint. Really important. But for now, thanks for your input, and hope to see you at another webinar that we will soon be posting about. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.